Welcome to 8th grade pre-algebra. I am Mr. Crusko. I also go by Mr. K, and I will be your pre-algebra teacher for the upcoming school year. How are we going to learn pre-algebra? There are going to be a couple things available to you that are going to be a little bit extra from previous school years. First off, we are looking to provide for you the physical textbooks for you to take home rather than to have here in the classroom. These are workbook like textbooks that you can write directly in and tear pages out. In the past, we have had those available to you as online ebooks, but by taking it home, you'll have something physical to write on. Continuing from last year, we are implementing Google Classroom. On Google Classroom, you will find instructional videos that go with each lesson and the complete filled in notes for that lesson. These will be posted either the morning of or preferably the night before a lesson is taught. So if you are someone who likes to get a preview or to look ahead, you may check the Google Classroom the night before and see if there's anything new to help get you a head start on the next day. New this year are we are implementing two technologies, one called Galileo and the other called Imagine. Both of these are going to help us with a little bit of individualized intervention in mathematics, helping to focus in on the specific skills you might need to help continue moving forward in the class as a whole. We are also going to use Galileo to help instrument our assessments. I'll go more over assessments here in a bit, but we're going to be using that resource to help get everyone acclimated to what the end of the year assessments look like, such as the GLA or end of course exams if you are in Algebra 1. Here are the supplies you need to be successful. This year, we are asking every student to have a 1-inch binder or bigger and 5 dividers. We're going to have this binder to store anything and everything for the class. Anything that you do on paper, once it's handed back to you, we would expect it to go in the binder because you are building a study tool. It'll house any in-class assignments, any homework that's passed back, anything like that. Also stored in the binder will be a composition notebook. And if you can't find a composition notebook, you can use a regular spiral-bound notebook. But that is going to be where we take our notes. In 8th grade pre-algebra, we do handwritten notes. And we'll go over the format as to what they're going to look like. But you can see examples on the Google Classroom to see how your notes are going to progress. We ask every day for you to bring a pencil. That's going to be highly important as almost every day we're going to be, whether it's writing notes or practicing different activities, you will need something to write with for every single thing that we do. The last piece is a scientific calculator. We will not be using the scientific calculator for Chapter 1, at least for the first 6 or 7 lessons, but it will soon become really important for you to have this tool if it is a tool that you will find helpful. Not everyone uses a calculator for everything that they do, but if you know that it's something that's going to help you, I would suggest getting a scientific calculator before the school year starts. There will be some scientific calculators available in the classroom, but I have many different brands and models of calculators, so you cannot guarantee you're going to get the same one every day. If you want to ensure that you have a calculator that you know how to use, come to school prepared with your own calculator so that we can work on you knowing how to use that exact calculator absolutely perfect. And I'll show you some suggested calculators here in the upcoming slides. Here are 4 calculators that I've had students use in the last 4 years that I think are very helpful. One of the more popular ones will be this here, the TI-30X2S. The 2 is because it is a 2-line calculator. It shows you not only what you typed in, but it'll also show you what the answer is. If something is incorrect, it allows us to go back, delete, and replace numbers. And then when we hit enter again, it gives us a new answer. Next, a lot of students like this Casio calculator over here, followed by these 2 here in the middle. All of them have the same functions. It just comes down to which ones you think looks nicer. Again, that Texas Instruments calculator on the right tends to be the most popular, also because it comes in multiple different colors. That dark blue, sometimes people get it in a pink or a green. That is completely up to you. Here's what class is going to look like. We're going to have about 3 different class structures. 2 of them you see listed here. Starting off with a warm-up or a do now every day you come in. You will find those put out on the desks. All my desks are set up into small groups. So you'll find a stack with each group. You come in, you grab it, and you get started as soon as that bell rings. We'll go over the do now, followed by a review of what we did the day before. That review will most likely look like us going over homework from the previous night. You will have homework every night, and I'll go over that here as we get further on, but we will take time to review that material, at least some of it, before we move on to anything that is new. On days that we are learning something new, we'll go into a lesson that will take anywhere between 10 to 20 minutes. We try to deliver only what you need so that we can have time to get in the group practice, which will be full group, where I'll say put a problem up on the board, give groups time to try it, and then we'll go over it, or we'll go over examples together, followed by independent practice, which could look anything like working within a small group, all the way to this is your independent one-on-one practice. Following that is when homework would be passed out as part of the closure. The closure could also include some sort of exit activity, whether it's one problem I want you to do before you leave, or some sort of response that you give to a prompt. The second type of day we'll see is a day where we're going to do station activities. And this will be about 2 to 3 stations that also include technology. That could be where one group is working on a worksheet of materials from the week. Another group will be working on some sort of constructive response activity, sometimes called a performance task. And a third group would be on Galileo or Imagine, working on some of those individualized skills as we continue to build up our basic skills so that we can move forward into more challenging material. Again, those days would have some sort of closure. We try to put station activities before any sort of assessment, so that closure or homework may be a study guide for you to be prepared for the next day. Only procedure I did not put in here are days that we have assessments. And those will look very similar to the station activities, where there'll be a do now, some sort of review. But instead of having activities, that'll be where the assessments take place. And as you wrap up assessments, there'll be something for you to work on, whether it is some sort of review from prior weeks or some maybe seventh grade skills to lead on into the next week. Homework policy. Homework will be nightly. Very rare will there be a day that there is not some sort of homework assignment, but these aren't meant to be super large homework assignments. We're looking anywhere maybe 10 to 20 problems, and if there are, say, 20 problems, it's going to be a lot of 1 to 2 step type material. Our goal is not to bog you down with a lot of work, but for mathematics, you have to practice. And if the only practice you get is taking place within our roughly 70-minute classes, then there's a high chance of you forgetting what you have done by the time you walk through my door the next day. Now, we also understand that there are things that come up after school. Though it is highly ill-advised for you to wait to do your homework, meaning you shouldn't just put it off because you don't feel like it. Late work will be accepted. If you have assignments that are backed up from having any sort of absences, I know at least for my class, I am still accepting those. Sometimes I have accepted those through the end of the semester, but a lot of times there will be some sort of due date set, whether that due date is a chapter test or say, especially in this first semester, I'll have a due date set for first quarter because we'll have our parent-teacher conferences soon after, and I want to make sure I have things as up-to-date as possible. So you'll want to be looking out for those due dates, and they will be broadcasted almost daily as soon as I know when those are, and they'll be up on the boards. Parents, you'll also know to expect an email from me. I email often with as much information as I can to keep everyone as up to date as possible. Those due dates, as well as the fact that I accept late assignments, will be in those emails. Weekly lesson quizzes. It is a practice of mine that I like to assess as much as possible, but not because I want to bog people down with tests. I want to get an idea, and I want to share with you how well you know your information as much as possible. So every Friday, we will be having lesson quizzes. Now, that could be anything from 1 to 3 lessons a week. So 1 to 3 lessons. And we would have about 4 to 5 questions per lesson on there. And with those quizzes, if you say struggle with lesson 1, but you're able to do well on lesson 2 and lesson 3, the great thing is those are all going in as separate scores. So you'll have a lesson 1 score, a lesson 2 score, and a lesson 3 score. If that lesson 1 score is an F, you have the opportunity to bring that score up. Quizzes can be retaken after school, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday. That's something you will want to let me know ahead of time that you're wanting to stay and to do that. There are after-school buses for anyone who is eligible to ride a bus. If not, of course, walkers will walk, and if you are waiting for a ride, you'll be able to wait up front for that ride to come get you. This year, we are having longer advisory periods, and they are taking place during the school day instead of right at the beginning. So students, you might be able to retake a quiz during those times, I think right now twice a week. That is something that we can work out, but I wanted to let you know that these quizzes can be retaken until you're happy with your score. This does not apply to chapter tests. only to your lesson quizzes. It is very possible for everyone in my class to get an A with being able to turn in late homework assignments and to retake lesson quizzes. So make sure you're taking the opportunity to take advantage of all of these resources and possibilities. I have one more slide. It's how can you be prepared? Bring with you your binder and notebook daily. There is almost something every day that we will be adding to your notebook. This is because there's a lot of information, and we want to give you as many different ways and strategies to know what's happening in the class. We're asking, of course, you bring a pencil with you every day. I would even suggest having a pencil pouch in your binder dedicated to your calculator and a pencil just for math. Use the resources on Google Classroom. You will find that as soon as we get you hooked up on Google Classroom, I actually have pre-posted some of our lessons, and from time to time, I will also post helpful resources that I find. Or I will even supplement it with videos from the high school Algebra 1 class, knowing that that is where you are going next year. This will give you kind of a heads up on the things that you can expect from those teachers at McClure North. Lastly, I ask that you bring a willingness to try with you every day. The one thing I tell students is that whether you get an A or you get an F, all I ask is that you leave my class with the willingness to try. That even if a task seems like it's too much, you are not giving up. You are trying your hardest, you're asking questions, and you're trying every single way you can think of to try to solve that problem. All right, that is it for this introduction video. This is a video I will probably share very often with students and teachers and parents. I want to make sure everyone knows exactly what is going on in my class. If you have any questions, please feel free to reach out to me, preferably to my email through Tyler. I will get to you fastest if you send me an email first, and let me know if you need me to give you a call back.